Hello everyone. In this lesson, I will be explaining lesson 17, which is the last lesson in section 3. Okay, it talks about the marketing strategy. So the first thing we must know is what marketing strategy actually means. So marketing strategy is a plan. So when let's say I mentioned the word strategy, it's like a guidance for the organization or a roadmap or a plan that combines the right combination of the four elements of marketing mix. So let's say this is a plan in order to combine the four P's of marketing for a product service in order to achieve particular marketing objectives. So, the marketing strategy developed by a business will depend on several factors, such as the size of the market, the number of people that I'm targeting, the number and size of competitors. So I will be focusing on the size of the customers and also the number and size of the competitors I'm dealing with. It will need to identify the marketing objectives of the business, and this is the third thing that the marketing strategy is going to be based on. The target market and the finance available. This is called the marketing budget. So we've explained what's marketing budget in the previous lesson. So when we say that we're doing a marketing strategy in order to combine the four P's of marketing in order to achieve the marketing objectives, so we must know what is the marketing objective for the business. So we have several main objectives, starting with increasing the sales of an existing product or service by selling to new markets or selling more to existing markets. And as I said, the market is like the group of people that I'm selling to. So I want to increase the sales of an existing product, a product that already exists. It's not a new product. And also I'm increasing the sales of a product and service or service by improving it. I'm increasing the sales of a product after I improved it, after I did, let's say, this kind of, adjustments to the product. Achieving a target market share with a newly launched product. So I want to, let's say, achieve a higher market share, or I want to achieve a targeted market share specifically from a new product, increase market share to maintain the same market share if there's any competitors, and increase sales in niche markets. So basically we're focusing on the increase of sales of the product and services of the business, whether if it's an existing product or a new product. So the importance of the marketing mix influencing consumers' decisions. So we're going to see how these four P's over here are going to have this kind of influence on the consumer's decision. So when I'm let's say, if the marketing strategy does not combine the elements of the marketing mix correctly, then the marketing objectives definitely will not be achieved. So I must make sure that when I'm preparing a marketing strategy, it combines all the four P's in it in order to achieve the marketing objectives. So let's see two examples over here. So basically the marketing strategy must combine the product, place, price, and promotion. So starting with this example, a product which meets the customer needs and it is priced at a suitable price, which the target market is prepared to pay, but potential consumers are not informed, so the promotion part is ineffective. So the missing P in this strategy is promotion, so the strategy will not achieve the marketing objectives. Let's see another example. So I must add the four P's, okay, in the strategy. Here, a product which does not meet the needs of the target market. So as a product, it's not there, okay, it does not meet the needs of the target market and will not sell at any price, even if it's heavily advertised. Even if there's a price, a promotion, but there's no product, definitely the marketing strategy is not, let's say, suitable and will not achieve the marketing objectives. The marketing strategy, the combination of the four elements of the marketing mix, okay? So we will need adapting throughout the product life cycle to ensure that the consumer's decisions are being influenced positively. So I must update my marketing strategy based on the changes in the product life cycle, or which stage the product reached in the life cycle. So, recommending and justifying a marketing strategy in given circumstances. If you are if you are asked to recommend and justify a marketing strategy for a business, consider and develop these points in your answer. So whenever you are, let's say, you must recommend a specific marketing strategy, you must, let's say, consider the marketing objective of the business. You must consider the marketing budget. You must consider the target market, the people you're targeting in your strategy, and you must have a balanced marketing mix, let's say, to make your strategy include the 4 Ps. So we have legal controls on marketing. So now we're talking about the laws, we're talking about the legal matters related to the marketing part. So in this part, we're just like trying to do the marketing strategy without, let's say, violating the rights of the consumers. All right. So consumers can be easily misled. It's quite easy to sell consumer goods that are either unsuitable for the purpose intended or that fail to perform as the manufacturer claimed. So this is not because consumers are stupid. It is because products are now so complicated and technical that it's very difficult for a consumer to know how good they are or how they are likely to work. So also, modern advertising can be so persuasive that nearly all of us could be sold products, even if they later discover to be poor quality or not as good as the advert claimed. So these are the situations that might face the consumer buying something that he thought it's something, and it turned out to be something else. Consumer need protection. So over here, the legal controls on marketing. Why? Because consumers need protection against businesses which could unfortunately take advantage of the consumer's lack of knowledge and lack of accurate product information. So the legal controls of marketing is in order to help consumers not to be fooled by any, let's say, or to be misled by any information, and not to be, to take advantage of the customer just because he doesn't know or doesn't have enough information. So in UK, they made laws to protect the consumer. Okay, so let's say the forms of consumer protection. How can I let's say protect the consumer from not being misled by any business throughout the marketing process? So the first one, there's a law for weight and measures. So retailers and producers commit an offense if they sell underweight goods, that's underweight, or if the weighing equipment they use is inaccurate. So you must they make sure that if any business is selling something that's underweight, it's under the weight that they, let's say, they said it's 300 grams and it's 2 grams, this is something that's against the law and can be, let's say, they can commit an offense if it was other than what they informed the consumer. Trade description, it is illegal to give the consumer a deliberately misleading impression about the product. For example, it is illegal to state that a pair of trousers is made of wool while it's made of cotton. Advertisement must therefore be truthful. The product must be described perfectly, and it must not be, let's say, to give a misleading impression for the consumer about the product. If it's made of plastic, the product or the business must, let's say, describe it that it's made of plastic, not made of glass or something like this. The sale of goods. It is illegal to sell products that have serious flaws or problems. So to make sure that you're selling perfectly made goods. So, and because if it has any flaws or any problem, definitely it's not going to be a satisfactory quality, and it's not going to, let's say, fulfill the purpose of the consumer. He was thinking it's going to be something and turned out to be something, let's say, something else, or there's something wrong with the product itself. Then the Supply of Goods and Services Act. This act does the same for service as the Sale of Goods Act does for product. A service must be provided with a reasonable skill and care. So if I'm providing services over here, I must make sure that not only the products are perfect, but also the services are being done by skillful and let's say experts, and to be done perfectly in a perfect way. It is illegal to make misleading pricing claims. So here it's illegal to, let's say, to manipulate or to mislead the consumer regarding the prices. So if such as 40 euros, or sorry, 40 pounds off for this week only, when the product was being sold for the same price in the previous week. So they are misleading the consumer regarding the prices. Most importantly, the law makes retailers and manufacturers liable, that is, let's say, responsible for any damage of their faulty goods might cause. So also over here, if any damage that the goods and services of the business might do to the consumer, definitely they can take the supplier to court and ask for compensation. So the consumer contracts regulations, formerly distance selling regulations, allow customers a cooling off period of 14 working days when a product is not bought face-to-face situations, such as with internet shopping. So if you bought something over the internet, there's the consumer contract regulation that gives the customer 14 working days to make sure that the products are the same as this customer ordered. This means that they can change their mind about the purchasing of the goods and services, and they're going to give them like 14 working days to make sure that everything is fine. Then this is like a form of contract being agreed on by the business and the customer. These regulations apply to all transactions carried over a distance from the retailer, such as online shopping. So especially the 14 days are for the online shoppers only. Here we have two examples of consumer protection. I need you just to read them to have an idea what they're talking about. So, is all consumer protection a good idea? Most people would say that the consumer needs to be protected as much as possible. Alright, they believe that goods should be as safe and suitable for the purpose intended as possible. However, some businesses managers believe that these laws add costs of making and selling the products, and this increases the prices in shops. So sometimes these laws, they put additional costs on the business, that therefore the increase in price might happen. Alright, so growth potential of new markets in other countries. So we said like, what are the growth potential or opportunities for new markets, new people, new customers in other countries than let's say the origin country? Opportunities. These days, a large number of business market their products in many different countries. Why has there been a trend towards globalization of business? So why a lot of businesses are, let's say, intending to go abroad and they intended to sell their products for different countries? So the first one, or the first opportunity, markets in other countries may have much greater growth potential than the existing market. So I might say like, I can go to Egypt because there's a chance that my business might grow and my products might be sold more than the country that I'm currently working in. Countries in different parts of the world are now developing and seeing their population enjoying rising income, especially the countries that the income is increasing. So definitely the increase of income is going to make people buy more. This provides opportunity for entering new markets abroad. Home markets might be saturated, and these new markets give a chance for higher sales. So I might let's say enter a new market because already the home markets that I'm selling in, it's saturated with my products. A lot of people are selling similar products. I have, let's say they have like enough products, variety of the products that I'm selling. So I'm trying to enter a new market in order to increase the sales. There is a wider choice of location to produce products, and this encourages businesses to sell as well as produce in these countries. So also because the countries abroad, not only they allow the business to let's say sell, but also to produce based on the location, of course, to sell and to produce in these countries. This business will have more information about these markets and be better placed to sell them as well. So other countries might like allow me to produce and sell my products in that country. Trade barriers have been lowered in many parts of the world, making it easier and more profitable now to enter these markets. And trade barriers such as tariffs and different types of taxes. So, what are the problems of entering foreign markets? Number one, lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge in these markets. So, One of the problems that as a business might a business might face when it enters a foreign market is the lack of knowledge. The business, let's say, doesn't have enough information about different aspects such as competitors, about the consumers in these new markets. So they do not know what these competitors are doing or what these consumers actually like. Cultural differences, religion or cultural differences may mean that some products won't sell in another market. So I must know what is acceptable in this country based on the culture that all the people in that country actually believe in. So, and problem number 3, exchange rate changes. If the exchange rate is not very stable, then exchange rate changes can mean that the prices of imported goods change and the product can become too expensive to sell in the new market. So I must make sure that I'm not selling in a country that the prices or the exchange rate is way too high. So because if the exchange rate is too high compared to the currency that I have, then that means that I have to pay more for the products, and it's gonna be like super expensive for the business. And import restrictions, if there are tariffs or quotas on imported products, then the prices of these products may be higher than domestically produced goods, reducing sales or profits or both. So I must make sure that there might be a problem when it comes to the importation. I have to pay a lot of taxes to import products, so it's going to be like really expensive for me to go to a foreign market, so they might like stick to a domestically produced goods. Increased risk of non-payment. Methods of payment may be different in these new markets. It may be more difficult to be certain that payment for imported goods will be made. So I must make sure or to understand how these new markets they actually pay before I actually move and start producing and selling in this new market, because I might like face the risk of these markets not paying me in the way that I'm used to in my home market. Increased transport cost. As products had been transported over long distances, definitely the cost of transportation is going to be increased, and also getting the products to the new market is going to, let's say, be harder, and the costs are going to be increased, especially if I'm using like containers to transport the products, or ships, or any let's say way of transportation is going to cost a lot of money. So looking at these problems, as a business, I might have methods to overcome these problems. So starting with the first, let's say, solution or method is joint venture. And for example, McDonald's has a 50-50 joint venture with 2 Indian restaurant chains, Hardcastle Restaurants and Connaught Plaza Restaurant. So when I do the joint venture, this allows the business to gain important local knowledge. So lack of knowledge is going to be solved when I do joint venture with already existing businesses, because these already existing businesses, they understand the market more than the new business. So culture and customs can be adapted and enabled more successful entry to the new market. And definitely the risks are going to be, let's say, reduced. But when I'm doing a joint venture, such as McDonald's, I must pay attention that sometimes I might have a management conflict between the two businesses, like McDonald's and, let's say, Hardcastle. They might, let's say, have a problem in the management, and also the profits are going to be shared as well. And this is, let's say, something that limits the company from actually doing joint venture. Licensing. So this is where the business gives permission for another company in the new market being entered to produce a branded or patent product under the license, and this is actually what is meant by like the franchise. All right, so this means product do not have to be physically transported to the new market. It saves time, it saves transport costs, and it can get around the trade restrictions. So when I give someone a license, I'm giving him the permission to produce my products in the new country. Okay, and when someone is given this kind of permission, he is producing the goods already in the country, so no need for me to transport the goods. It's going to save time, effort, cost, and so on. The main limitation, I might face quality problems. This another company might not like produce the goods as like or the products just like I do in my home country. So there might be quality problems because I gave the license to someone who is inexperienced and might, let's say, make damage to the reputation. And also now licensee now has access to information about how the product is made, could develop a better version and become a competitor like after a specific time. So this company that's producing the goods that I'm doing, okay, there is a probability that they're gonna get it, or they're gonna know a lot of information that like I wouldn't share to so wouldn't share it with any other company. So there might be a chance that they will use this information to produce similar products and become my competitors. We have international franchising. This means that the foreign franchises are used to operate a business franchise abroad, which is like an outlet, like Dunkin' Donuts, which is like a US based baked goods and coffee franchise sold in franchise, like it's being like instead of USA to being sold like as a branch or as an outlet in UAE. Okay, so this means again that the local knowledge in this international franchising, local knowledge used to choose the best place to locate Dunkin' Donuts outlets. These franchisees, okay, they know better about the new country. The main limitation for the international franchising, also quality problems. Training and support costs are going to be provided by the franchisor, and you can go back to lesson 4, types of business organization, to actually read more about the franchisor. He's going to pay for all the costs, whether training costs or the advertising and so on. Localizing existing brands. There is a phrase, thinking global, acting local, which is being used by several global businesses. It means that there is still a common brand image for the business, but it has adapted local taste, culture, therefore increasing sales. So making sure that, okay, I'm using, let's say, a US brand, but if I'm selling it in Saudi Arabia, I'm adding this kind of, let's say, local taste to the brand, and I'm actually making it adaptable to the new foreign country. The main limitation over here may be less successful than a new product is made to meet local cultures and market conditions. So if I'm, let's say, adapting to local tastes, okay, the new products that I might doing, it might be less successful, and it might like not be, let's say, aligned with the idea of or the brand of the home, let's say the home brand or the main brand. Also, limitation number 2, it's expensive to change packaging promotion in order to adapt to the local culture. Okay, so that was our lesson for today, marketing strategy lesson 17. And that's the last lesson in section 3.